Hey friends, we're going to do something a bit different today, or on this video. We're actually going to start reading sections of the Holiness.com Dating Survival Guide. And I'll try to put links in the blog post that I'm embedding this video in, where you can purchase the book. It's available via Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and other places as well. So let's get started. We'll start at page 1 and we'll read through just a small portion of the book, just kicking this off, and hopefully in future video blog posts we'll read further and further into the book. But by all means, I recommend getting the book. You can maybe read along with the video or go ahead if you have your own copy. And just for those of you that are not familiar with what this is a book that was produced by Holiness.com. I am the founder of Holiness.com, and I wrote this dating survival guide. And it is a great tool for whether you're old or middle-aged or advanced in years. Even if you are already married, there's some good things that you can benefit from in this book, as well as sharing this book with friends and family members. So let's get started. You can get online and read more summaries about the book, but let's get started with this. Page 1, 8 Truths. As you read this dating guide, please keep the following 8 truths in mind. There are people who go to church, who may even be card-carrying members of a particular church fellowship, who are not necessarily Christians. So that's truth number 1. Number 2, Christians are not to date non-Christians. See the Holiness.com website, and you can learn more about the holiness living. All Christians should live the holiness lifestyle. It's biblical. And you will find that that is totally contradictory to the lifestyle of someone who is not a believer in Christ. So in any case, let's move on. Enough for my side comments. Number 3, it is totally possible for someone who is truly a Christian to give advice that is contrary to biblical values. This bad advice will lead the follower of the advice in a direction that is opposite to God's divine plan for the individual. Well, another side comment. I've been given in times past, and even more recently, bad advice by someone who was a believer in Christ. So Matthew 16:21-23 says, "From that time forth began Jesus to show unto his disciples how that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the 3rd day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan, thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men." Peter indeed was a follower of Christ. See Matthew 16, verses 16 through 19. However, Peter, in trying to convince Christ not to suffer for humanity, was really putting forward the path that Satan wanted Jesus to follow. Look at the motive as to why someone is trying to get you to do something. What self-interest do they have to gain if you do what they ask? And look at the scriptural basis of what a person is telling you. So don't just take it on face value that some person that maybe they've been a Christian a long time and they're giving you advice, and that advice doesn't line up with the word. Then you're not to follow that advice. And we showed an example here that even Peter was trying to get Jesus not to do what was actually his purpose in coming into the world to do. And so obviously in relation to relationships, sometimes Christians will give bad advice to people and want them to follow that advice in their relationships, and that advice may be bad advice. Okay, number 4. This is number 4 of the truths. Regardless of what you were before you accepted Christ, the biblical Christian standard for living is holiness. In the past, you may have been a swinger, a player, or whatever other name you went by. But as a Christian, God is calling you to honesty and purity. Leave the old life behind and the way you operated in the world, and that swinger, player lifestyle, playboy lifestyle, playgirl lifestyle. Number 5, a Christian must understand that certain sins do possess a level of pleasure, and this tends to make these sins all the more alluring and dangerous. Observe how Proverbs 9:16 through 18 exposes the wicked words of the seductress who lures fools into her home. The seductress says, "Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. And as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell." Number 6, do not think that your bloodline or your political connections or your money or your education places you on a pinnacle above all other Christians. Have no confidence in the flesh. That's Philippians 3:3. But all of us Christians were saved from sin by the work of Christ. And as we tread the path of holiness, we must watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's Matthew 26:41. Number 7, if, as you read the following material, you find that you have not been following wisdom in certain areas of your life, many of you will be tempted to let your pride cause you to defend some past mistake. I caution you that when you become aware of a better way, it is best to just pick up from where you are now and begin to follow the better way. And number 8, a person can be gifted by God with some great gift and notable talent. This does not make them the ideal choice for a marriage partner. For example, a man can have the greatest musical gift as far as singing and playing an instrument, and yet be selfish and immature when it comes to interpersonal relationships. It amazes me how men and women swoon, becoming dizzy with love in the presence of gifted church celebrity types. Some men and women will pursue serious relationships, even marriage, with people based solely upon how that celebrity, quote unquote, person makes them feel while displaying the gift or talent. So you got to look at more than a person's side comment here. You got to look at more than the person's gift and how they minister in churches, whether that's a good marriage person. They have potential to be a good marriage partner, excuse me. And maybe it is, where they are right now, they're not ready and they're not mature enough in Christ to be a very good candidate for you to look at as a potential spouse. And you may just need to just back off and let them mature. If they ever do get to the point where they are going to be sufficiently mature or have all the attributes you're looking for, what you need as a spouse. So that's page 3. I think we'll end at the bottom of page 3, and if we pick up next time, we'll pick up at the next chapter, which is Why a Dating Survival Guide. Basically, why have I chosen to set forth and write this guide? Okay, that'll end it for today, and hopefully you enjoyed it.